Thank you so much for being here today. I am so excited for our 2022 State of the Bar industry. Obviously, we all share a passion for bar, or at least for fitness and boutique fitness. So I'm really excited to get to know each other and look at all the things that we can look forward to this year, especially after a rough couple of years. I really want to emphasize that there is a lot to look forward to. My team and I had a lot of fun putting these slides together and creating the presentation that you'll see today. Welcome to everyone who's already in the bar industry, everyone who's thinking about being in the bar industry, everyone who may have come through one of our programs at Barre and Soul Academy. I'm really grateful that you decided to join me today. I want to share with you really my highest intention for our time together today. I want you to know that I really do not take your time lightly. Every time I'm going to go live or get on a stage or anything like this, I use these beads and I stop and I meditate and I really pray for you to hear exactly what you needed to hear and to be able to channel whatever that might be that you needed to hear today. So really my highest intention is for you to feel excited about the future, to have a lot of hope for our industry, to feel like you have some new options to explore. And I can't wait to share some of the data that me and my team have found that I think you're going to find really exciting, really energizing. So if we don't already know each other, my name is Andrea. I'm the founder of Barre and Soul Academy, formerly Bar Guild Academy. And I have trained hundreds of teachers around the world. I own in New England a multi-million-dollar bar and yoga business that has locations across 3 states here in New England. I'm a keynote speaker and educator on all things bar. I've been personally mentored by some of the most incredible mentors in our industry, including Elizabeth Halfpap, Fred DeVito, and Esther Fairfax, the daughter of Lottie Burke, who created Bar. And we recently rebranded, expanded, and added a lot to our training. Again, formerly Bar Guild Academy, now Barre and Soul Academy. Barre and Soul is the name of my studios. We're keeping everything under one umbrella now, and really excited about that. And I can share a little more about why we made that change and what that means. A little bit about Barre and Soul Academy, and a little bit about my background in bar. I have been teaching bar since 2007. I came to bar after going through a really challenging time. I'm a survivor of domestic violence. I was a teen mom, had a rough start to life, and bar really was a huge catalyst for empowering me, helped me to find my voice, helped me to find my self-confidence, and allowed me to build a career that I was able to bootstrap from zero to multi-millions. So it's been a hell of a ride. Like I said, I've had some amazing mentors along the way. I've certainly had my share of challenges since I started, as I mentioned, started teaching bar in 2007, started Barre and Soul, and opened my first studio in 2013. So there's been a lot of bumps and scrapes along the way. And one of my highest intentions now is just to pay forward what I've learned so that others can maybe be spared some of the headaches and the heartaches that do come up when you are an entrepreneur, whether you are a studio owner or a teacher building your career. I consider all of that part of entrepreneurship. We have a virtual studio. We have over 75 employees at Barre and Soul, and I've been a featured expert at the World Bar Fitness Summit every year since its inception. And the studios have won some great awards like Best of Boston, Mind Body Visionary, Best of Rhode Island, and I'm a contributor for Mind Body for their blog and for their Bold Summit. I've had the privilege of speaking on stages shared by Michelle Obama, Billie Jean King, and it's just a privilege to be able to be here with you today, and again, to be able to share what I'm learning along the journey and be a part of yours. I'm really honored to have that opportunity, so thank you. The reason why I do this is because I am obsessed with empowering women through bar. As I mentioned, bar was such a vehicle that empowered me when I was at really kind of a rock bottom, what I would call rock bottom time in my life. And my guess is that there is probably something big or something hard that's bar has helped you to get through, or else you wouldn't be that passionate to be sitting here on this call today. So I really am obsessed with the power that bar has, both to empower through the physical practice. It's such a safe and such an effective practice. It's such an opportunity to build community and something so much bigger than just physical fitness. And I'm just so honored and delighted to be able to help create more powerful leaders like yourselves who graduate from our teacher trainings or come through our programs and go out and have a ripple effect in their own communities, and who are themselves empowered and go out to empower others and really ripple out and change lives. It's just such an honor and such a privilege to see that and to be a part of that. What I love about Barre, it never gets easy. I love that about Barre. It will always challenge you. I think once you have found it, you found a workout that you can have for the rest of your life. It's going to be safe through pregnancy, through rehabbing injuries, through aging, through surgeries and things like that. It's something that will always challenge you. I've had professional athletes in my class alongside women in their 70s and 80s, or women who are pregnant, and everyone was challenged at an appropriate level. And I think that that's really incredibly rare and powerful, and something that we can all be really proud of about this practice that we share. All right, so what I want you to walk away with today is literally, I want you to walk away feeling like you know how to own 2022. When you look back over the last year or the year before that, you might not have totally felt like you owned those years. You might have felt like they owned you at times. I know I did. And I really want us to go into this year feeling empowered and feeling like we know what to do. We've got some steps that we're excited to take for how we are going to own 2022. I also want to look at preparing for what's beyond that, and really what the future of our industry looks like at the moment, and ways that me and my team here at Barre and Soul can help. It is also my intention that you walk away shaking off any fatigue that you might be feeling, and that you feel really re-energized for this year. Let's take a minute and just acknowledge what the heck has been going on in our industry for the last minute since COVID-19 appeared on the scene. Boutique Fitness Solutions is a wonderful business that provides business education to a network of boutique fitness studio owners. They do amazing research. Again, I know and work with them and trust them, and I'm friends with them, and I know them really personally. And it is absolutely humbling what they put into their research. So I'm really honored to be able to share some of their findings with you today, and some of which are: only 5% of Americans get that 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week of exercise. That is the recommended amount. 70% know that they should be doing something, but haven't found what they want yet. COVID-19 has caused 95% of Americans to admit they want to seek a healthier lifestyle, and a gym membership is a great place to start. 2 out of 3 people want to do something to better their health, especially post-pandemic. 80% of people that walk by your studio or your place where you teach classes, they don't have a gym membership yet. And it doesn't mean they don't want to move. Maybe they don't like gyms. Maybe they want to find a boutique studio community. Maybe they want to find someone to work with one-on-one. So there's so many folks out there that need our help, and there's so much opportunity. There were 100,000 US boutique fitness facilities pre-COVID. 17 to 22% of facilities closed during COVID. I'm afraid that this stat is pretty old. I think it's actually quite a higher number than that now. This stat is from some time last year, and I know that with this latest wave, there has been more studio closures. So the one reason boutique fitness will make a huge comeback is footprint. The average studio only needs, according to BFS, between 2,000 to 3,000 square feet, which is a lot easier to launch than a massive global gym. I'm here to say I have studio spaces that are only 700 square feet. We only have 2 out of the 5 that are over 2,000 or that are like 2,000 and above. So it's really possible to run a Barre program out of even a smaller space. And there are a lot of vacancies post-COVID for those of us that are looking to open studios. So summary on all of that is to say that you can be a fitness and wellness evangelist in your community. Tons of folks are wanting to get healthier. They are looking for something that is accessible. They're looking for someone to help them feel welcomed and give them a safe space to be able to try something that's maybe they haven't worked out before, or maybe they're just getting back to it and they're looking for some place to do that. So I want to look at a few different things as we continue our discussion today. One is looking at what was the situation in our industry pre-pandemic. during the height of it, and I know sometimes it might feel like we're still in the height of it, but we're not. The height of it was really March through May of last year before vaccines became widespread. And we are also going to look at today. Where are we now? What's the scoop with mandates, Omicron, et cetera. And really that Omicron, I would say, is kind of an elephant in the room that I want to get out of the way. And I think we should talk about it and look at where are we now? Because I think just before the holidays, we probably thought we were really seeing that light at the end of the tunnel and getting out of COVID times. And then it seemed like we were plunged back in, masks went back on, and things changed. So I want to share, I've been doing a lot of research on where we are at with Omicron. I want to share some things about that. So, and we are going to dive deeper into some of the long lasting effects of COVID. And I want to say a few things about this variant. There's really nothing new that we need to do differently or that we need to learn this time around. It's not our first rodeo now. We've been there, done that. It wasn't hard for us at my studios to roll the damn, masks back out, the mandatory masks, or to change our capacities, or, our cleaning protocols already were really extensive. So that didn't even have to change. So this hasn't been as disruptive. We're also seeing that within my studios, attendance numbers are not down. So folks are still coming in. It's January. Everybody's still looking to step up their game. I'm seeing more folks in class than I was seeing in December. I've read several articles that are saying that cases are down now 20 to 30% in some of the areas that were at first hardest hit. So all signs are pointing in the right direction, and sources are showing we are likely near the end or the endemic phase of COVID. There are home treatments that are now becoming available. The New York Times said that the latest Omicron developments continue to be encouraging. New COVID-19 cases are plummeting in a growing list of places. Percentage of cases causing severe illness is much lower than it was with the Delta variant, and vaccines, particularly after a booster, remain extremely effective in preventing hospitalization and death. Since early last week, this was a brand new article, new cases in Connecticut, Maryland, New Jersey, and New York have fallen by more than 30%. And another source, attractionsmagazine.com, said that since Omicron wiped out Delta but appears to be less dangerous, experts have speculated that its dominance could lead to COVID's endemicity, or what Dr. Fauci described as the virus being present at a level that does not disrupt society. Thanks to vaccines, tests, and new at-home treatments, Pfizer CEO predicted we will soon be able to resume a normal life. So those are things that I just wanted to kick us off with, because I know that it's been frustrating to feel like we were backsliding recently, but I still think that we are approaching that light at the end of the tunnel regarding the pandemic. So I wanted to just take a minute to look back at sort of the ride we've been on these last couple of years. It is important to take every experience, including the negative ones, as merely steps on the path and to proceed. So we certainly, even when it feels like there's a lot we don't have a choice about, there's a lot we can control, and there's a lot of choice that we still have, and ways that we can be empowered and take control of our situation. So for me at my studios, some of the things that happened during the course of COVID, we immediately, within 24 hours of having to close our doors, were able to get our virtual studio up and running. I know many of you have been running virtual classes by now as well. We have managed at Barre and Soul to retain all of 5 of our brick and mortar locations. We made a lot of hard but strategic business and personnel decisions to keep afloat. We've had to let some folks go. We've had to wear extra hats and take on extra job titles and do more than we maybe knew we could. One of the things that I've done that has really helped throughout this pandemic has been maintaining close contact with other industry leaders. So really leaning into my network, expanding my network, not being shy to reach out to folks who might seem like a competitor. I've had some of the most reassuring and empowering conversations with folks who might look like competitors, actually, who I just see as really professional friends and colleagues now, and folks that I can reach out to even when I'm having a day of fatigue or I'm stressing out about the latest thing. And that's been amazing. And this is one of the reasons I'm so happy that you're all gathered here today together, because I know that the bar industry has had a reputation for being snobby, for being maybe even cutthroat at times. And I'm sure you've probably experienced that yourself if you've been in this industry for years. I see a huge shift. I see that a lot of us have been humbled, quite honestly, myself included, by what we've been through the last couple of years. And I think it is really the exception to the rule to be competitive and, snobby at this point. I think for the most part, most of us are really eager to connect and to help each other any way we can and to try to work together to continue to navigate this. Another thing that I've been doing a lot of since the pandemic is coaching other bar entrepreneurs through the struggle, both by way of mastermind groups, one-on-one coaching. Our team here at Barre and Soul has had to run a lot leaner and work smarter, reevaluate, cut things that weren't working. A big thing that has been present throughout the last couple of years that I think is important to acknowledge is that while we're running leaner, while we're reacting to the latest thing, while we're trying to make our bottom line make sense, we are in a world where diversity and inclusion is much more of a prevalent conversation than it ever has been. Anti-racism is a huge conversation and a huge issue in our industry. We know that there is a lack of diversity in our industry, and it might feel like, wow, it's a hard time to tackle that while all this is going on, but it's never been more important to tackle it. And it is possible. There's so much that we can still do. It's such an important conversation. I think we're at a tipping point for really exciting and awesome change to happen in this industry. And it goes beyond race. I mean, we're talking about ability, we're talking about ageism, we're talking about body positivity. We really want and need to break down those negative stereotypes that some folks might associate with bar. We don't want to be intimidating. We don't want to be these, perfect, quote unquote, Barbie dolls or Stepford wives. We want to be able to welcome folks in and have them experience the transformation, the community, and the empowerment that all of us have been able to receive through our own bar practice. So there's so much exciting new opportunities there and new emphasis there. One of the things that has happened for my company is that we have received an incredible amount of funding. We've learned a lot about how to navigate our ability to receive grants. And Kristen, luckily, had a background in accounting before this whole thing happened. And that was definitely a godsend throughout all of this. She's our operations director. And I'm really excited to say, on the note of more collaboration and more working together within our industry, one thing our industry has lacked for years is any sort of an alliance to create a set of standards by which one could call themselves a bar teacher or a bar program. So you probably know there's a yoga alliance, and there's a Pilates alliance, and there are standards that one can say that they're a part of that alliance, and folks know that that means that they've done a thorough training and that they are working in an authentic methodology. And that is something that I'm excited to say I think is forthcoming very, very soon for our industry, and more to come on that for sure. A few more observations that I have made about the industry in the course of the last couple of years that I really want to call out. I am seeing a shift away from franchising. Folks who are franchisees, I'm hearing a lot of dissatisfaction with being a franchisee anymore. I've seen folks have their royalty fees go up. I've seen franchisees have try to start their own virtual program, but then have their franchisor company do their own virtual program. So that was really taking away from them an opportunity to make revenue during the pandemic. I've also seen folks who are franchisors who own these franchise companies saying that they just don't love this model anymore, that they'd like to get out of it, maybe moving into licensing rather, something that is, I'm just going to call it a lighter structure. And I want to say that before the pandemic, I always wondered if one day we would franchise Barre and Soul, and folks would ask me that every once in a while. And would ask about opening a franchise. And for some reason, it never felt right to me. And I've been able to do some research and understand more about why I now know I'll never do that. And one of the reasons being that I learned a lot of folks who own franchises have to own more than one to be able to make a living for themselves. So they have to be able to open, say, 2 or 3 before they can start really making a living. Well, the average person needs to have so much money to be able to open a franchise, often $100,000, $200,000. So in other words, I think that if anyone's being empowered by owning franchise studios, it's only after opening several. And in other words, they would already have had to be very wealthy to even get started. So I don't think it's a model that actually empowers the average person. And it's important to me to help economically empower folks. So that is a big reason why I have been looking at the structure of our programs at Barre and Soul Academy over the past year. And we're rolling out some new things because I really just want to be able to pay forward my knowledge and our industry knowledge in a way that folks can be free to do what they want with that knowledge and not have to sign their life away or all their life savings. Another really big trend that I want to point out that I've seen is, in the past, I have taught, you might have seen this webinar that I've done called How to Make an Extra 40K in 15 hours a week teaching Barre. I still stand by everything that we said in that presentation. The interesting thing is it was based on a cookie cutter model that doesn't really exist. It doesn't solely exist anymore, put it that way. So at that time, I was looking at, okay, you teach Barre full time, you make a certain hourly wage per class, you teach this many classes, maybe you supplement with workshops or with retreats. And now that option is still there, but there's so many new ways that folks are getting creative and building their Barre careers. And I have several case studies I want to share with you today about what that can look like. I think folks are really getting personalized with how they are approaching their contribution through Barre. I would say that legitimacy is still an issue for us in our industry. In yoga, as I mentioned, they have a yoga alliance. If one is 200-hour Yoga Alliance certified, you know what that means. You know that the training was vetted by this nonprofit entity. And so that has been lacking in Barre. And I think that just like you wouldn't simply roll out a yoga mat and call your class yoga just because it used a mat, right? You would expect it to follow a certain lineage of what yoga is supposed to look like. And of course, it would be modernized because we've done a lot to change it, I'm sure. Same goes for Barre. A lot of folks are thinking, if I teach a class with a ballet barre, I'm going to call it a Barre class. The problem is that it causes confusion and it's hard to distinguish between what is a true, authentically Lottie Burke technique-based Barre class versus what is just like a cool, maybe fun class that happens to use a ballet barre. So since I would say the 1970s, the Lottie Burke method name the trademark has been owned. So although we have taken Lottie's tradition and we've been following in her footsteps, we haven't been able to call it Lottie Burke because of trademark issues. And for that reason, I would say around 2012-ish, we all kind of settled on the word Barre. But like I said, that word has been kind of diluted and it's a bit hard to know what is a true authentic class taught in the original tradition versus just something cool that somebody made up. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, but that is one of the trends that I wanted to mention. Another thing that I wanted to say is that I am seeing new models left and right popping up for how folks are delivering their Barre programs. One interesting new model that I'm seeing is basically multiple studios under one roof, sharing the space. And this is something I'm seeing crop up, and I'm seeing some developers start looking for operators for these new concepts. And I will say that they've clearly done their research and they are looking for Barre operators. So it shows me that the demand for Barre is still extremely strong in the brick and mortar space, as well as, of course, in the online space as well. So here's another piece of interesting information that I found. And I'll share this quote from Josh McCarter, CEO of MindBody. People are thinking more and more about their health and their wellness. The pandemic has emphasized that it's important. We've seen in some of these markets that have reopened, like Hong Kong and Singapore, that bookings for class are even higher now than what they were in 2019. I think that's going to be kind of a lasting change that comes out of COVID, a heightened focus on people's health. So I want to talk a little bit about this line graph that you see here. And this came from a source called Run Repeat, which does research on the fitness industry. So this line graph is about the boutique fitness industry and revenue projections. So the boutique fitness industry is forecasted to grow to 22.1 billion this year. And that is up from a pre-pandemic level of 20 billion in 2019. It is expected to grow to 26.2 billion by 2025. And even though the boutique fitness industry revenue is estimated to have dropped as low as 8.8 billion during the pandemic, which you can see here, this little low point on the graph. So it is incredible the resilience of our industry that is already showing, and that what is projected for growth, it is incredibly strong and very, very encouraging. Let me share with you what I am calling must do in 22. So based on all of this information that me and my team have been gathering, I want to share some of the biggest things that I think are going to be important for us this year. Number one being invest in yourself. So while it is frustrating to keep having setbacks due to COVID that may or may not be affecting your business, being at the top of your game will always pay off. You will never regret having invested in yourself. Education is something no one can ever take away from you. So honing your teaching skills, gaining legitimacy, no matter what comes, education is always going to serve you. Professional development is huge. And I really also want to call out personal development. I don't know about you, I've grown a lot in these last 2 years. And I think that, frankly, professional and personal development are really kind of one and the same. I have a coach who says to me that business problems are personal problems ultimately. So there's a lot that we can work on within ourselves. We can grow more resilient. We can put things, to bed from the past, and we can get stronger. We can really grow, learn better boundaries, learn better business practices and self-management as well as business management. So for me, the number one thing that will always pay off is investing in yourself. And there's really no downside to that. I also think that business education, it's sort of like, if you're passionate about, some of us know we're passionate about business. Like I actually love that side of things. But if you're passionate about fitness, if you're passionate about Barre, the business education might be what you need. Maybe not what you want, but it might be what you need. So that is just another thing that I wanted to share. Even if you don't think it's fun, I think there's a lot of ways that it can be fun, and then we can make it a lot of fun for ourselves. My second one that I wanted to call out is really building your squad. So I already emphasized how big of a deal that has been for me in this course of this pandemic. We have been able to stay a multi-million-dollar business in spite of all of this. We've been able to stay afloat, keep studios open. Not that there's anything wrong with closing them if that is the right decision for your business. So I would not have gotten through this if not for leaning on industry experts and peers, and really creating more peers, connecting with more peers. So recruiting an amazing team, having folks on your team who can help you, making sure that you really have the assistance that you need to be able to show up and serve. And having great mentors is so important. It's really never been more important. So I would just say that change is a constant, and you're always going to need a squad. And we wouldn't still be here without this team, without the network that I've been able to build. And I think that's really huge. And again, that's why I'm so grateful. And I thank you so much for being here today to create that for yourselves, for each other, and to be able to make those connections, I think is so important. And it really maybe has been missing in our industry, but I really feel like the time has come for that. I also want to say too, to back up on investing in yourself and personal development, one thing that this last few years has taught me is knowing how to stand in my integrity when I've made the best decision that I could, because I am certain, no matter if you're a studio owner, a parent, an employee, you have had to make some hard decisions and somebody hasn't liked it, whether it was about a mask or a vaccine or about, whatever your personal choices have been. It's impossible to please everybody. There's a lot of disagreement. And I think that knowing what your values are, knowing your why, and knowing that you've done your best, you've weighed all the information that was available to you, and you've made the best decision for you, and really having that internal strength to stand up for what you've chosen, I think is huge, and a really big learning and a really big growth opportunity that I bet you've already made, whether you have realized it or not. So I want to acknowledge that. And I would love for you to acknowledge yourself for that. So the third thing that I think is so critically important is designing your career. So in other words, there are so many options besides just finding a job at a studio or just buying a franchise. Those were kind of those cookie cutter options that I mentioned that existed before. And I have personally tried many models, and I can teach you a lot about many different models and many different ways of going about it. And again, I'm going to share some case studies with you soon. According to the New York Times, the coronavirus pandemic led to a tidal wave of entrepreneurial activity. As of last July, the number of people reporting as self-employed was the highest that it's been since 2013. So folks are really looking to find a balance now, balance between live and virtual, one-on-one versus group, blending in other aspects of their careers that are important to them, things like coaching, things like nutrition, things like one of you is a cochlear implant technologist. So there's so much that is unique to you. Your self-expression has never been more important. You can't compete with, I'm just going to say this, but I'm about to give context. You can't compete with Peloton. You don't have their advertising dollars. You do not have their budget. You do not have their name recognition. Okay. And you can kick Peloton's ass because you have your personality, you have your unique gifts, you have your passions, your values, your talents, you have your network, you have your people that you can make feel seen and heard, and you have the ability to reach and help people. So it's never been more important for you to focus on being you and serving who you want to serve in the way that is most meaningful for you. So I'm going to keep talking about Peloton for a second. So as of the end of 2021, Peloton, which could barely keep up with bike orders in the beginning of the pandemic, saw a $5 million gap in sales Q3 2021. In early November, Planet Fitness was reporting that they are at 97% of their pre-pandemic capacity, with a 46% jump in revenue from 2020. The source for that was Morning Brew. And so in other words, folks are wanting to get back out in person with other human beings and leave their homes. Peloton stock, this is as of this week, according to Forbes, Peloton stock has fallen to pre-pandemic levels. According to CNBC, declining visits to Peloton's website and higher than normal promotional activity is prompting a JP Morgan analyst to lower his forecast. The move comes about 1 month before Peloton's next scheduled financial report. Shares of the fitness streamer touched a 52-week low on Wednesday. And also, according to CNBC, Peloton is looking at cutting stores. They have cut prices on their bikes, and they've brought in McKinsey to review their cost structure. So they were kicking all of our asses maybe for a second, but I would say that the tides have turned. Folks really want to feel like they're part of a community, and as such, I just think it's really important that we reach out to people and that we use strategies, marketing strategies that are very much more social, grassroots, and create opportunities for real human-to-human connection. And the last thing that I wanted to share as a must-do in 22 is serving with soul. So really offering an experience, getting creative again in your way of acquiring clients. So using social selling, reaching out, sending somebody a DM and asking them if they'd like to work with you, making a little video and sending it their way about why you thought of them and that they might be great for your program. There's been a lot of updates in regulations and privacy laws getting stricter. So I'm sure you've noticed in the last year, your phone is asking your permission before it shares certain things. And there's just been a lot less accessibility for you to be able to reach folks maybe through a paid ad, but there are other ways to get creative that are actually more meaningful and that work better for businesses like mine, and I think probably like yours. Another way that you can serve with soul is really taking a stand for your students and your staff. So that means creating a safer space for the people in your community, creating a space that is free from body shaming, creating a space that welcomes all ages, abilities, races, genders, a place where feedback is welcomed. I think COVID-19 has shown us that the world can change really fast, way faster than we thought. And because of that, things that we've always cared about, we're now demanding that change happen faster. And so I think that it's so important that you lead with your values and be a part of this movement for change that we're seeing in our industry. So what I'm going to share with you next, and what I want to get to some of those case studies that I mentioned to you, are taking the tools that we have used to make millions even at the height of the pandemic, and sharing some of that secret sauce with you. So I mentioned serving with soul, and I want to say first and foremost that one of the reasons that we changed Bar Guild Academy to Bar and Soul Academy is because, first of all, I'm no longer looking to expand our brick and mortar presence. I don't want a franchise, as I mentioned to you. I want our business to be, I want Bar and Soul Academy to be really the heart and soul of our business, because I love being able to give away the knowledge that I have and to empower as many people as possible to use that knowledge to make a difference in their community. So the other reason that we made soul front and center is because it is the through line to everything we do. I think it can be a huge differentiator for you and your business. I think it can help you stand out from big corporations. And so soul, keep in mind that soul is really the foundation and the thing that ties everything that we do together here at Bar and Soul Academy. But the other three things that I think really create the secret sauce that has allowed us to really stay afloat through all of this and to thrive in spite of adversity. First being instructor credentials. It's so important that you have top-notch teacher training. As I mentioned, I think developing yourself is critically important, and you need a training that is comprehensive and not a rubber stamp, not just an Insta certificate. The second one, as I mentioned, is legitimacy. Having that basis and that background in Lottie Burke's original exercise methodology and technique. Would you want your yoga teacher to know nothing about where yoga came from? Of course not. And then lastly, really understanding the business of bar. So you want to know those industry specific best practices, the how-to, and the proactive planning. And these are all things that we've really expanded Bar and Soul Academy to be able to offer all of that, because again, that's what I'm excited to give away at this point in my journey that started back in 2007 in this industry. So how do we deliver that now? We now have 3 trainings, not 1, and we have beefed up even our original one, and we have added more. So number 1, we are answering to that need for a extremely thorough, authentic, and comprehensive bar teacher training program with our Bar and Soul method trainings. That's training number 1 that we offer. Training number 2 is the Pure Lottie training. So this is the original technique that Lottie Burke taught, which was taught to her daughter, Esther Fairfax, which you see it in this photo here, and that was taught to me. So yes, Bar and Soul method is my method. We changed things over the years, right? When Lottie created her method in 1959, I don't really think women wanted visible biceps, quite honestly. And today, I think we want different things from our fitness. When the method was first created, there was a lot of bouncy stretching happening. Whereas now we have so many other ways, because exercise science has taught us about active stretching and even PNF techniques. So there's just a lot that we learn, and we grow and we update the original. So while Bar and Soul method is the exact method that I teach and that my team teaches in our studios, it is so valuable and so important to learn and understand the roots and to get to have access to that original technique. I will tell you this, because I had some of the best mentors in the United States in the beginning of my bar career, who managed Lottie Burke in New York City for decades, I thought what I was teaching was the original. And it wasn't until I went to England and trained with Esther that I realized, oh, this has actually evolved a lot. I barely recognize some parts of this from where it started to where it is now. So I think it's an incredible investment in yourself and your legitimacy and authenticity as a teacher to be able to have that notch in your belt to be able to say that you have studied the original technique. And then third is that third piece of the secret sauce that I just mentioned to you, which is the bar business education. And that we are delivering in our Bar Boss business course. So this is brand new. And this first go around will be taught as a live cohort. In the future, it'll be an on-demand program, but because this is the first go, I will be personally coaching and taking a cohort through this course live, starting February 1st and meeting weekly for about 2 months. So these are some of the things, and I can share more about kind of what are the layers inside of each of those. But first, I've been promising to share some case studies with you about what are folks doing with this education and how are they making their own unique self-expression. So this is Brandy. And Brandy Downham is the co-owner of the Body Bar. And what she has had to say is that she finds it to be a total experience. So she said, I wanted to offer my students a total experience when they take my bar classes. Sure, I want to give them an effective workout and a feel-good vibe, but most importantly, I wanted to gain their trust. The Barre and Soul Academy is a comprehensive training that I can be passionate about and proud of. So there's that soul piece again. The modules are convenient, simple, and fun. So Brandy is a coaching client, as well as a business coaching client, as well as a Barre and Soul Academy trainee, a really accomplished yoga teacher, someone for whom it's really important to bring a lot of soul to her classes that she and her partner Heather offer. So that's something that they've been working on. Sounds funny, but standardizing. How do they make sure that that soul is really being delivered effectively in all of their classes, and no matter who at their studio is teaching them? These ladies will be expanding their brick and mortar presence. They want multiple studios. They have a great retail business, something that honestly, I haven't chosen to focus a lot on. I mean, I have in the past. We had actually a clothing line at one time, but right now, like, I realized that wasn't the most fun part for me. And so this is what I mean when I say you're going to want to customize what's fun for you. These ladies are kicking ass with their boutique in their studio. And I love that so much. And I love that we can each find our self-expression and what's going to really light you up and keep you going. This is Betsy. Betsy is just an amazing Barre and Soul Academy graduate also. She said, Barre and Soul has helped me feel strong again, and that strength helped me regain some confidence that I had lost over the years, and that confidence led to me feeling courageous to try new things at the bar, like starting a new business and away from the bar in my personal life. So again, the personal and the professional really do feed into each other, and that she learned not only what to teach, but how to teach. Betsy is another amazing case study. She also is a co-owner of one physical brick and mortar location, and has an awesome business partner, and is also a business coaching client and a Bar Boss business course grad. And one of the awesome pivots that Betsy's business made during the pandemic was they decided to bring in Pilates reformer machines and open up a new stream of revenue for their studios. Again, that's what sounded fun, and that's what lit them up, and that's what has really worked out well for them. And they've also been incorporating some of those original Lottie Burke technique classes into their schedule. So finding the self-expression that feels authentic for her business, as well as doing some coaching and helping some other bar startup businesses along the way. So I just really want to give a shout out to Betsy for just that innovation and the courage to really find your unique voice and express yourself in the way that feels best. Emily's case study, this is so cool because Emily is also a Bar Boss business course grad, also a Barre and Soul Academy grad, was a member at one of our studios in Harvard Square, and what Emily said is that it gave her business confidence. She got actionable tools, tips, and trade secrets that more than she even knew was out there. And not only was she equipped to be the best teacher, but she was also set up with real world business strategies. So Emily's story is like so many twists and turns, and I think it's so fascinating and just such a testament to how many options that you have nowadays. So Emily graduated from Barre and Soul Academy. She started I would say like a micro studio. It was called Basement Bar, and she was teaching friends in her basement studio. And that was a great business. It had hardly any overhead, and she was doing really well for herself with that business. The pandemic came. This turned into a virtual studio. In the Barre Boss business course, we looked at pricing structures and really maximizing how to structure the offer so that it was the most beneficial and had the best retention and the best profit margin and bottom line. Interestingly, during the business course, Emily decided not to open a brick and mortar space because she was really happy with what was happening with her revenue and the way her business was going in her virtual studio. And then in the last couple of months, an opportunity came around for her to take advantage of an available space in her community and open the first basement bar outside of her home, and is actually in a brick and mortar business as well now. So this has just been such an awesome success story and something that I'd love to be able to share with you, because really the options are endless. There are so many ways to go about this, and it's important that you really know and understand the different paths and really what's available to you. So what Leticia said about Barre and Soul Academy is, thank you for creating such a comprehensive and amazing program that someone like me with no dance experience, no ballet experience can actually absorb and grow with. So I want to shout out Leticia because, first of all, Leticia, I just love you, and you're just like such a ray of positivity. Leticia is an incredible esthetician, an ordained minister, which is amazing, a really spiritual person of faith, and someone who lights up every single room or Zoom room that she steps into. What I want to share about Leticia is that in addition to building her bar business, she is really killing it in her aesthetics business. So again, this is Leticia's unique self-expression. We are multifaceted people. We're multidimensional people. We have different things to offer. And it's so important that you are expressing yourself in the way that feels most authentic to you. You don't need to be like somebody else. You don't need to be Peloton. You don't need to be me. You don't need to be Emily or Betsy or anybody else. What you need is your unique self-expression, because there are so many people, as we shared earlier, that there are so many people that need what we have to offer now. And if we are not being ourselves, how can our people find us? You know, this isn't one size fits all. So one of the things, Leticia, that you said that I think is important for people to hear is someone like me with no dance experience and no ballet experience, because I know that that was, you know, frightening at first. And I know for me it was too. That was a hang up. I had trouble finding my voice as a new bar teacher at first. And what eventually happened is that I realized that people need what I have to offer. Just like as I shared with you that I use my beads and I say my mantra before every time I get up and speak to you. The great news is it's not about me. It's not about you. It's about who you can help. And there is somebody that knows a lot less about bar than you that you can teach them. And there is somebody else who doesn't have ballet and dance experience who might be really intimidated or might not see somebody that looks like them out there teaching bar, and they might not know, are they going to belong? And guess what? Because you are your unique self, there are people that will be attracted to you and that you'll be able to serve that I can't serve, that the next person might not be able to speak to, but they want to hear from you and they want to see you. So this is just something so important for you to keep in mind. I know imposter syndrome is big for all of us. Most bar teachers I know run into it in the beginning of their careers, and I was one of them. And please know that every time today that I push myself to a new level, I have to overcome that imposter syndrome still, but you learn that you can trust yourself to rise and rise and rise to the occasion and to each new level that you decide to tackle. So I said I would say a little bit more about what is inside of the curriculum of each of these trainings that I shared with you earlier. So Barre and Soul method training, very robust. We go over bar science and anatomy, lots and lots about hands-on adjustments, because some folks already want them, and if not, they will want them again at some point. We go over how to use music. If you are not a dance teacher or someone who has already learned how to do that, we will teach you how to use music. You learn the weight work, the thigh work, glutes and glute stretches, core work, everything you need to know to lead the class, but so much more than that. You will learn modifications, you will learn classroom management, how to own the room, and we will touch on the business of Barre here and a little bit about the philosophy of bringing soul to your classes. There's a lot that comes with this program. Again, as I mentioned, it's really robust. There's a lot of bonus material. So you get access and support from real people, live support through our Barre and Soul Academy Master Trainer team. You will be invited to our live Q&A sessions that happen just like this on Zoom every other week. You will have over 60 course videos, a private Facebook group where you'll be able to engage with other current trainees. You will learn your Barre history and your Lottie Burke history. You will get to see some behind the scenes videos with me and Esther. You'll get to know our trainer team, and they will become part of your Barre network. And you will have actually several full-length on-demand classes that you'll be able to take as well to keep deepening your own practice as you study. The second training that I mentioned to you, pure Lottie curriculum, here we go into even more depth about the history of Barre. There are so many myths about Lottie Burke. There are so many misconceptions, and there are secrets that are revealed in our training that anyone who's serious about Barre, I really recommend that you up-level your training and really get this education. You will learn all of the physical exercises, as well as, like I said, some of the lesser known truths about the origins of this method. There's so much to know about Lottie. We were featured in a BBC documentary piece just recently talking about how much we've lost about that Lottie history. And we have this Barre practice today that's making a difference for so many people, but a lot of what isn't known about Lottie is really fascinating and worth knowing. So I wanted to make sure and be able to share that with you. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed learning about some of the folks that have graduated from our programs, and I hope that you are ready to take the step with us and join us in Barre and Soul Academy. I want to tell you, we make it super easy, ridiculously easy. There is literally no reason for you not to sign up today, and I will tell you why. If you start today, you can train entirely from home and on your own schedule, whatever works for you. You go at your own pace. This is self-paced, so you can complete it in as little as 8 weeks. Or you can take up to a year if you need to. Why can't you complete it in less than 8 weeks? Because it's not a rubber stamp certificate. This is a very thorough curriculum, and it is designed for you to be able to crank it out in 2 months if you are eager and excited to finish as quickly as possible. We have a 14-day money-back satisfaction guarantee. There is literally no risk in checking this out. There is no reason not to sign up. If you have made it this far through this presentation, clearly you're still listening because you see a possibility for yourself, and this feels like something that might be for you. There is no risk in you finding out. When you sign up, you have 14 days to change your mind, shoot us an email, and we will refund you whatever you've paid thus far. So please do not worry. There is no risk involved. And again, if this is something you're interested in, why not get under the hood and check it out for yourself and see what you think? If it's not what you were expecting or just doesn't live up to, whatever you thought it was going to be, no worries. Email us. We will not give you a hassle and you will get a full refund. We also have payment plans, or you can pay in full. So the payment plans make it really, really accessible, and and it probably feels even less risky with a payment plan because you only have to put less down to get started. However, I want to say that there is zero risk for anybody, whether you pay in full or whether you choose a payment plan. You have those 14 days to check everything out for yourself and make sure that you're sure about the program. Live human master trainers are ready for your questions. You can email us right now, teach@barresoulacademy.com. Once you're in the program, email us anytime, pop into that Facebook group. It's an active and vibrant community there. There's a lot of conversation happening there. So we are at your fingertips. We are at your disposal. Use us. So if you are ready to sign up, please get on over to barresoulacademy.com/enroll and get yourself in here. Again, there is no risk. There's no reason not to. You have a dream. You have a why for why this matters to you. And you have a purpose for why you want to create this career for yourself in bar. Hopefully now you're feeling really clear on the steps you need to take to make at least 40K a year in your bar career. And I hope you're feeling a lot of freedom to tailor that to you, however you would like that to look for yourself and whatever feels like the most authentic thing for your self-expression. What did I miss? Nothing. If you have questions, hit us up. Get your butt in here. I cannot wait to work with you. I'm so excited to meet you and see you on our live calls and in our Facebook group. And I am so excited to watch your bar career blossom. Hit me up with any questions, and I hope to see you in Bar and Soul Academy very, very soon. Thank you so much for being with me today. Bye.